It's afternoon time. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. There is a lot going. Hold on. There we go. Trying to let Facebook and YouTube catch up. All right. So good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good day, wherever you are. Hi, I'm Ia Dania. I'm a Ifa priestess and spiritual awakening doula for the African American diaspora. And there's a lot. Like especially here, I mean, around collectively, but there's a lot, especially here going on in the States. Florida's Floridering, Tennessee, there's just a lot. And this morning, I was like, I don't know what to say. Like I haven't done like a video or anything to kind of say anything because I wanted to be mindful of what to say. And when I was thinking about it, I was like, well, let me just go ahead and um, do divination on it. Let me just go ahead and do divination and say, um, do, do, do. There you go. Let's go ahead and do divination to see what we need to say. And hold on, there we go. So my iPad don't fall. And I wanted to make sure that whatever message that I shared was relevant and would give whoever was meant to receive it exactly the inspiration, empowerment, and encouragement. I know there's a lot of work that needs to be done behind the scenes. My people understand what I mean when I say that. There's a lot of work that needs to happen behind the scenes. But when I think about everyone that's being impacted and everything, what is going on? What do we need to know? So I did divination on it this morning, and I did a little automatic writing to see what I would come up, and then I also pulled what the actual Odu meant. So the message that I received from Ifa this morning was Osa Otura. And good afternoon to everybody that's just joining. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. So I got the message Osa Otura. And so for those who have never joined or anything and don't know what this means, thanks for the likes, everyone. Um, an Odu would be like if you were raised in an Abrahamic faith, an Odu would be the equivalent of a scripture in the Bible. So the Holy Odu is the holy scripture, the holy oracle for the Ifa tradition. And so what I did is divination to see which one applied to the situations that's going on right now, at least in the States and collectively all together. And what should I share and say that would help inspire everyone? So I got Osa Otura, and African religion is also almost a misnomer. African tradition is more of a spiritual science. And so, with it being a spiritual science and Ifa, it's a binary system of ones and twos. And so, based on this message, we got two metaphysical concepts happening with the collective right now. So, this is related to whatever's going on and with the things happening in Florida, the things happening in Tennessee, the things happening with Black, brown, indigenous, and Black people, the things happening with the LGBTQIA plus, this all happening all simultaneously is not a coincidence. So the message for it with Osa Otura, Osa is the principle in life and nature of radical outward change. That means there are things happening outside of yourself, outside of your ability to control. This is not something that you have triggered. This is something that is happening beyond your control. Otura is mystic vision. It is our connection to the divine, it is our ability to connect to whatever we feel our spiritual principle is. That is what Otura represents. So when we put the two together, there's a radical outward change. There's things happening cosmically. There's things happening in the collective, in the community, in our respective areas where we live that is leading to us deepening our connection to spirit, deepening into our spiritual practice. All of these things happening. What I see when I look at people's posts and the things like that, there's a lot of people asking, collective unity, collective prayer, deepening their connection into their spiritual practice, deepening their connection into their ancestral roots. So before I went and looked at what the Odu, the commentary on the Odu or anything, I went and I just sat and I just like listened to see what was the message. So this part right here is simply what I got channeling in terms of what the divine wanted us to know. And at some point, it shifts in language because at some point, I am literally channeling source. I'm like, literally, it's me and God sitting and having a conversation. And so I'm writing it in first person because I'm just writing what I'm listening to. So the message is waking, radical outward change leads to a deepening connection to spirit. Waking up, collective push to see things for what they are, colonized indoctrination, breaking the fourth wall, seeing beyond the veil of forgetfulness, honesty and honor coming. This will require a collective push. Your ancestors knew what to do and how to, but they weren't all unified, which what took so long to invoke some of the change that needed to happen. But you don't have to wait that long. And this is where it shifts. I am not sitting here waiting for the world to implode. I don't know why you keep thinking I want to destroy the planet. Fire and brimstone are a tool of control, and I love you. I love Earth. I would never let anything happen to her. The beautiful trees, the land, the water, the air will all be here. So, what does that mean for you? Will you, well, you have a choice whether you're here or not. You are the change you seek in the world, waking up to reality as it is, still playing small with your gifts. Invoke lasting change. Ritual must be done repetitively. A spell and a ritual are not the same thing. So before I move on to what the actual Odu itself said, what I got from that is one, there are a lot of people, especially in, I want to say, the quote unquote spiritual community, who are awakening to their gifts. And they're wondering why this is happening and why it's happening so fast. It's happening so fast because a lot of things are changing around us. And thus, we need more people who are tapped into who they truly are to stand forward. We need the people who are leaders to lead. We need the people who are nurturers to nurture, because there's a lot of people who are in need of that right now. We need the teachers to educate and not teach. We need educators, not teachers. We need educators. We need mentors and people who are ready to, we need the herbalists to remind us of how to work with the herbs of the land. We need the gardeners and the farmers to remember to remind us how to grow and nurture ourselves and allow Mother Earth to show us how abundant she truly is. We need to remind ourselves that the earth is not in any place of lack. Lack is a falsehood. Lack is not truth. Lack is something of a means of control. The earth is abundant and vast. We need to remind ourselves that all of the things that we may have been taught that are written in a book by a human being that wanted to control a very large amount of people, that had to program them to think that they are weak, who had to program them to think that they are small, who had to program them to remind them, to snatch them away from their practices, only to turn right around and use their practice for their own benefit. We have to move past all of those things and remind ourselves of the deepening connection that our family, our ancestors, our lineage had, and tap back into that. If you are someone who has already realized that you have gifts and you are doing work with those gifts, you are continuing to play small. You casting spells when you need to be doing rituals. Those two things are not the same thing. You are looking to, and it's not that you should not do money rituals, because that was the example I got yesterday. It's not that you can't use what you do to do money rituals, because the Most High is fully aware you have bills. The Most High is fully aware that you need to pay your rent, your mortgage, you need to pay your car note, you need to put food on the table. And until we get back into a bartering and trading system where the money is not required, God knows that we need money. So the fact that you're doing money spells and money rituals is not the issue. That's just, it's the only thing you're doing. You're trying to do a ritual to get that guy back when he might not no longer be in alignment with you. Let it go. If he's meant to come back, he will. Do a ritual if you're going to do, hi. If you're meant to do a ritual to get love, then get the love that's aligned to you. Stop making it about a specific person. Unless you have been given divination to know that one is the one, then he ain't going nowhere. She ain't going nowhere. Do better. But a ritual is something that you do constantly. You know, like if you get up in the morning, most people have a general practice: get up in the morning, wash your face, brush your teeth, yada, yada, yada. You do that every day. That is a ritual. You do that every day. it creates a certain kind of energy every day. And when you don't do that certain thing that's part of your morning ritual, your day seems off. Why? Because the magic that you have been invoking every single day in your regular life is not there. You have to do the ritual. So if you understand the under meaning, you can't cast a spell and fix this. It needs a ritual. Take it. Those that know to do understand. There's a lot of things going on. Everyone is fully aware what's going on in Tennessee. Everybody knows what's going on in Florida. These are not isolated incidents. They won't be isolated incidents. Take that as it. Do what you will. So when I went to the Odu, it was like even more beautiful. The message became even more profound and even more beautiful. So it says successful handling of external changes brings a renewed connection to spirit. Successful handling, that means instead of standing in the winds being blown around by the change, you find a way to stand in the calm in the eye of the storm and stand in the eye of the storm and figure out how you can move the winds of change around you. How can you work what's going on in the eye of the storm so that you're not swept up in it? Just let it marinate. And by being able to handle it successfully, you're renewing your connection to the divine, whatever you deem the divine to be. I may have used Ifa divination. This is not specific to one spiritual practice. When the Most High came through, it was really clear. This is not about the practices that you feel like are right and wrong, because you're playing small. You're trying to make God small. You're trying to limit who God is, and God is connecting to everyone in whatever way that God feels like that needs to happen. So when she says you need to deepen into your spiritual practice, she is telling you that, one, you need to find a practice that is authentic and right to you. Hey, Facebook and YouTube. You need to find a practice that is right and authentic to you. Like, if you can't figure out how to connect to the Most High on your own in solitary, you need to figure that out, because that is when you will start to align to the practice that is most right and whole to you. And then when you do that, when you're able to do that, then everything that's going on around you, you will start to figure out what your part is and how to managing all of the things that's happening. These things are happening, but they're not happening by accident. This is a call to action. You need to come back to whatever spiritual practice is aligned to you, not the one given to you, the one aligned to you. And those two things may not actually be the same. It speaks of loss leading to Ide. Ide is your blessings and your abundance. That means that the things that are falling away, the things that we're losing, or what seems like we're losing, are making way, making room for the things that we need to have happen. So when we think about loss and think about it in the collective about things, what's going on, there are things being put in place that are meant to limit. This is going to trigger something bigger than we can even understand. There's going to be a domino effect, a ripple effect that they don't realize is going to take place. See, if you look like me and you're in the African American diaspora, part of the diaspora, your ancestors were well aware of how to invoke money and bring that in, but that's not what their practice innately started with. You need to go back to what they originally were doing their practices for. And that is where your answer is. You need to go back to what they were originally doing their practices for. And that's what the answer is. This Odu speaks of maintaining a cool head. That means be smart. Don't be all on the medias of the social and saying, hey, we're going to do ... Get you some people that you know that you can trust and leave it like that. It also talks about being honest. It talks a lot about being honest and speaking your truth and how you see it based on the facts. Speaking your truth, how you see it, based on facts. That's important. Being honest about what you know, what you see, walking in good character, that's important. I'll get to why that's important, but that's important. And it speaks about protecting our children. And I thought that was powerful because in this morning, when I'm praying and I'm asking, for me to be able to do this divination, I'm like, I'm thinking about Tennessee and how those men spoke about they wanted to protect our children. And for me to specifically get an Odu that says calls protect the children. See, in most African traditions, children are a symbol of abundance. They are a symbol of prosperity because you have to be able to feed and clothe and take care of your children. So the fact that the Most High allowed those children to choose you as parents is a mark of abundance. Some of us squander it. Some of us waste it. We don't even realize that they could have chosen other parents and they chose us. They could have chose us. They could have chose anyone. They chose us. I spent a lot of time wondering why God felt like I was worthy enough to have my sons, and both of them are neurodivergent. Like, why me? And realizing that they chose me. They knew that I could be the mother they needed to help cultivate them. This morning, I was cleaning the kitchen, looking at my sons, and I often call them the small humans. Oh God. Haley. um I I I thought about that and I said I call them small humans because right now I'm in the middle of raising gods. When I look at my children, I'm not raising them to simply be men, I'm raising them to be gods. I don't want them to ever feel like they're limited. Yeah, I don't want him to eat that plant because you're not supposed to eat that. But in the grander big picture, I want my children to always know that they are strong and powerful and they can do whatever they want. And it's always cool to me when I go to my son was like, he was bing, 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 bing off the wall last night, like looking like sleep was going to be a thing. And I called him over, had some Florida water, called him over. I was like, come here. And he came right over, put his hand out. He put it in his hand. He put it on his head. And I said, cool. And he said, head, cool, head. And cooled his head. They get it. They get it. They understand sometimes their Ori runs hot and we got to cool it off. In this Odu, it is talking about the fact that these changes are they're in this happening to us. They're happening around us, and we need to figure out if it's happening to us or for us. And this Odu is saying this is happening for us to come back to ourselves, come back to our roots, come back to connecting with the Creator in a way that is not based in fear, in a way that is not based in doom and gloom, but it is based in empowerment. It's based in encouragement and realizing that the power, the energy, the essence of the Most High dwells within us. So if we want to see change, we are the change that we need to see. But if we're still operating from a lens of the colonized idea of what the creation and what the Creator is and how this world should look, we will be caught up in the winds of change and won't be able to stand in the center of what's happening and be cool and shift the wind. When I was writing an automatic writing, it was literally like, you have a choice. Either way, Earth gonna be here. This idea that, oh my gosh, I'm gonna destroy the planet is false. It's a control mechanism to keep you afraid. It's a control mechanism to keep you afraid. So if you want the planet to stay, you like the trees, you like the grass, you enjoy seeing the blue sky and the beautiful clouds, then you have to decide, are you going to be swept up in the winds of change or are you going to stand in the eye of the storm and shift the change? Which timeline are you going to be on? Which destiny do you want to have unfold? And what are you willing to do to see it happen? There's a a conversation happening in this Odu, and it is between the Odu itself, Osa, Otura, and Orumila. And Orumila is the witness to destiny. Orumila was there when creation happened, so understands the destiny of all things. And so the conversation goes, what is truth? And in this Olodumare, that's the name of the Most High in Ifa tradition. So, what is truth? Truth is Olodumare, God, the divine, guiding earth. What is truth? Truth is the unseen one guiding the earth. The wisdom Olodumare is using. Great wisdom, many wisdoms. What is truth? That line was important. That line was super duper important. Great wisdom and many wisdoms. Many wisdoms. What does that mean? That means that it is not simply the wisdom of one, it is the wisdom of the many of us taking the lessons that we have lived, our ancestors lived, and turning them into action that is going to be wisdom. Earlier on, when I was doing the channel message in writing, it was like our ancestors knew what to do, but one, they were not with their tribe, so there was a need to build trust with these other tribes because it wasn't necessarily inherently there like it would have been with their own tribes. They had to learn how to communicate. They had to learn which part of their practices were similar, which parts were different, and how could they marry those practices together. They were resilient in making sure that there was going to be something of their legacy, of their lineage that would live on in their descendants, giving birth to what we call hoodoo. They didn't call it that. Sometimes I have to, fix how I speak to my ancestors and address it because they didn't call it hoodoo, but that's what it is. It is an amalgamage of their traditions to make a new tradition. Just like we are an amalgamage of our ancestors. This is why when we go and get our DNA done, you're not simply just Nigerian. You might be Congo, you might be Bantu, you might be Ghana, you might be Senegalese, you might be all of these things. And considering that individually, all of those different tribes were unique in their genetic structure, we are just even more unique because we have all of these things within us. We have all of these things in us. But that wisdom, it is many wisdom. That means there are many wise leaders, many wise people, many wise women, many wise men that are meant to help us come back in connection to the Creator. There are many wise people whose wisdom is being asked for right now. Olodumare, God the Most High, is tapping you for your wisdom. And is tapping the cool, because coolness is mentioned multiple times in this Odu. It is not simply the fire that is needed. There is coolness required. Coolness allows you to be calculated in your action. See, the heat will have you saying, hey, we're going to all go and do ... meaning that the people you don't want to know that you're going to do it are going to find out. And what you know about your ancestors is there's a reason why a lot of their traditions and practices were done in secret. We have to pay attention. So we go back. What is truth? Truth is Olodumare guiding the earth. What is truth? Truth is the unseen one guiding the earth. The wisdom Olodumare is using. Great wisdom, many wisdoms. What is truth? Truth is the character of Olodumare. Truth is the word that cannot fall. Ifa is truth. Truth is the word that cannot spoil. Mighty power, surpassing all, everlasting blessing. Um, um, Truth is the idea that this is what it is. There is no, you can't shift it. This is what it is. So, for example, God is the Most High, Olodumare, is Olodumare, that energy, the Most High, is unlimited. I didn't ask for any money. Sugar plum, butterscotch. You haven't heard me ask for anything. But happy Easter to you, because I just sang for my ancestors for Easter. Um, uh, so the Most High, it's only one way, either unlimited or limited. Unlimited or limited. Unlimited or limited. See, it can't be both. It's either unlimited, all knowing, meaning all encompassing, meaning in all things, or not. Or not. It can't be both. So when you realize that, well, God is everything, and in everyone. God is everything, in everyone. So if that's the case, if God is in everything, in everyone, then every connection, every manifestation of the source, of the creator, that is where God is asking you to go back to. What uh uh let's do this. um I love y'all. Y'all are so sweet. Blessings to you. Blessings to you. Peace, love, light, and elevation. Blessings to you, Sugarfoot. Cause guess what we don't have time for? Bloop, bloop, bloop. Ah, I'm just curious. Like, for those that have been sitting here, like, I don't think I've mentioned money at all. Like, at all. Like, free game. Like, but it's always got to be one. It's always going to be one. So back to what I was saying. God is saying you have to find um they're not mad. They're not mad. That was a test for me. That was totally a test for me. Like, are you going to keep going? Or are you going to give up? That was literally that was for me. That's for me. Like, I'm not even mad at it. Like, are you going to say your truth? Because the what comes next is speak the truth. Tell the facts. Facts, regardless of anything. Facts are you can't know exactly. Facts are you can't know God in totality. So you are only going off of one. If you only go off of what someone told you God is, you're still only getting a fragment, a reflection, and an emanation of the Most High through their lens. And if the lens that you're getting, the interpretation of God from comes through a lens that was indoctrinated through slavery, colonization, brutalization, and hate, the manifestation of the creator is going to be that. So then when you step away from that and find your own truth, understanding that facts, energy can't be created nor destroyed. That means everything is simply all the same energy in various forms. That's facts. Like, everything is all the same energy in various forms. This is the concept of oneness. So even if you call it something different, all energy is the same. So meaning that there was always only ever one emanating energy. There was always only one emanating energy. So if there's always only one emanating energy, and that energy has simply changed forms. It changed forms into this window I'm looking out of with the trees blowing. It changed forms into my ex's car sitting in my yard. It changed forms into my bed, which means it also changed forms into me and you. Your relationship then with yourself and how you see yourself and how you see others is an emanation of how you see your relationship with the divine, with the Most High. Speak the truth, tell the facts. Facts. I can't know everything in God's mind. That is the mind of the all. Do you know how, like, on the days where I do a collective message and I'm acting as an oracle and I'm literally sitting like me and God channeling, I am completely whipped and exhausted. That is a lot of energy. You can't possibly know it. This is why you also can't possibly know every aspect of yourself created in their image. You can't, like, you will do all the shadow work, read all the birth charts, do all the numerology charts, and it will still only be a fraction of the vastness of who you are. Facts. Those who speak the truth are those whom the deity will help. Ashe. When you stand in your own personal truth, so my personal truth, my spiritual practice is rooted and grounded in self-love. Why? Because I know not matter whether I am an emanation of the Most High or creation of the Most High, by honoring and loving God's creation, I am honoring and loving God. I am honoring and loving something God created. That is facts. There's no way around it. There's no way around that. God created me and everything else. When I love and honor and respect and give honor to those things that I know are created from God, God created anything. Nothing's getting past God. Nothing's going to get past God. So God is aware of what's going on. God is asking, what are you going to do? You see the foolishness. You see the tomfoolery. You see the division and the divisiveness. What are you going to do? Are you going to jump, continue to follow that? Are you going to continue to stay in the field? My Black people. Are you going to continue to stay at the plantation? Or are you going to finally act like you're off of it? Are you going to finally act like you're off and say, okay, I don't have to keep looking at these things through this lens. I can take those glasses off that were put on the face of my ancestors, who they tried so deeply to fight. But they had to do something and get rid of the old. They had to get rid of the old. You think of, and that's always the way. You think about the story of Moses. You think about the story of Moses and going to the new land. And what did they have to do? They had to keep going until all the old ones were no longer. Why? Because they needed a new mindset. So what did they do to our ancestors? They had to get rid of them. They still remembered the power of the drum, both in calling on your neighbor and calling on spirit. They still remembered that God whispers through the wind in the trees. You think that's not God's breath you feel every time the wind blows? The fact that our ancestors had a name for it, that's just the name. Either way, every indigenous, every Black tradition, if you go and do your own research that wasn't done, you will find none of them saying there's more than one God. None. Not a one. Not one. The other energies are emanations of God. That is God making it thunder. And which face of God is making it thunder? Well, if you're talking about Orisha, it's probably Shango. If you look at the emanation of God, that is the sun. That's the sun rays, and you are coming from a Kemetic tradition, then you might say Ra. It's not that Ra is another God. Ra is the face of God in the sun. The fact that the indigenous people of this land were aware that, Mama Earth was nurturing and gave respect and reverence to the freaking planet that holds us here by some magical means that we call gravity, and it still is not the full story. That's just, again, an emanation of respect of what God has done. They just simply have a name for it. And they have a name for, like, when you're asking for protection from the Most High and you're asking God to protect you, are you asking the love and light God? Or are you asking the God that turned Sodom and Gomorrah into ash? Same energy, multiple manifestations. Indigenous and Black cultures simply understood there are multiple emanations of the source, and thus they would name the emanation. If they're like, yo, God, I need money. I'm gonna need a little cash. That's the one most people, I need a little cash. a little cash, and you were raised in a tradition of the Orisha, you might call on Olokun, or you might call on Ajay, or you might call on Oshun. It's not that you're not calling God. Which aspect of God does the money thing? When I'm riding down the road, I be wondering which aspect of God do the clouds. Because some days they be showing out. Some days I'm looking up at the clouds because I do cloud scrying. Some days I'm looking at the clouds and I'm like, yo, God was really like, who does God put in charge of the clouds? Who did God put in charge of the clouds? And even if you outside of the emanation, God was able to rest while creating worlds, dimensions, and timelines. God is the best at delegation. If you are somebody that doesn't have good time management, you might want to call on the aspect of the creator that's good at time management, because the God that created all that existed in the Abrahamic tradition took a whole goddamn day off. I'm in the middle of creating everything, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a day off. But you act like you can't take a break. God's creating existence and said, you know what, I'm going to chill. I'm going to chill today. I'll be back. I'm going to chill. Okay. In every tradition, even the Abrahamic ones, we have angels. God took of God's self and said, okay, cool. I'm going to create all of y'all. And you know what? Y'all handle my light work. Y'all go answer the prayers. Y'all go do all that stuff. I'm still creating other dimensions and galaxies and universes and timelines. Y'all go handle that. I'm going to chill and do what's going to be fun for me. Y'all handle that other stuff. Y'all handle the admin. But you will ask for help. You will ask for help. Shenanigans. Shenanigans. So what do we do with this? For those that are just joining, hi, good day. I decided to do, good afternoon. I decided to ask, I started to do divination to see what it is with everything going on, especially how it impacts Black and Indigenous and other marginalized groups. What are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to be learning? So number one, coolness and chaos. That's number one part of the message, because we have radical outward change. That means there are changes happening around us that we feel like we have no control over. And we're in a storm. And right now we may be feeling like we're in the winds of the storm and not in the eye of the storm. God is asking us to stand in the eye. Stand in the eye of the storm, because within the eye of the storm is where you can lean into your spiritual practice to understand what it is that you must do during this time to protect you and your loved ones. The other thing was protect children. Very much, very loud. It was not cryptic. It literally protect the children, not just your children. Protect the children. Period. Protect the kids. They are the ones that are closest to the divine. We need them. When your child comes to show you something really mundane, when they come to show you something that seems really arbitrary to you, they're showing you that God is in everything, even this random rock that they picked up off the ground, even in this leaf with all its many layers of green and things. They see it. This is how they communicate it to us. They see it, and that's how they communicate it. As kids don't need to be taught who God is. They remember that they are God. And they're meant to show us. This is why they do the things they do. They jump off of stuff and put random things in their mouth. Why? Because they feel untouchable. They remember their God. They remember that they're the Most High. They feel untouchable. They don't realize they're in a physical vessel. They still feel like they running around in the cosmos doing cosmic things. And they're just trying to continue to do those cosmic things in their physical body. That's why they jump off of stuff. That's why they do the things that they do. I know that my sons are creating radical change in my concept of what is really important. Is it really important that they're jumping on my couch? It's an irritation, but is it really that important? Or is it more important, like, don't flip over the back because I don't want you to crack your cranium? That's where the importance comes in. Priorities. My sons are teaching me priorities. They're teaching me how to shift the way in patience and communication. That's why God let two children that were neurodivergent choose me as their mother. Don't get it twisted. Your children chose you. They chose you. They are not an accident. They're not a mishap because you decided not to do something you needed to do in order to not have kids. If you had them, they were meant to come when they showed up. Period. And if they were not, you never had them. If they were not, you never had them. If you were meant to be, they were. And if they were, they chose you. Even if you are a facilitator for them to go to someone else, they were still meant to be of your blood. Period. We have to protect them. Whether we choose to birth and have children or not, all of the children need and warrant our protection. Period. Speak your truth and redefine what your truth is. If you are still going through the life through the lens of the colonizer's truth, if you still doing masses work, if you look like me, I'm going to encourage you to leave the field. Put the tools of the master down, leave the plantation, and sit with yourself and figure out what your truth is, and then speak it. Truth, tell the facts. Truth, tell the facts. What are the things that you know you can't, there's no way to argue against it? Facts. When you're looking at what's going on around you, truth, facts, speak them. Those who tell the truth are the ones that the divine is protecting. It may not seem like it right now. Those that tell the truth are who the divine is protecting. Those that tell the truth are who the divine is protecting. Whatever you define the divine to be, because God is not limited to one definition of divination of the divine, because God is everywhere in all things. Whatever you deem the divine to be, your spiritual team, your spiritual court, your spiritual homies, they're protecting you. Long as you stand and operate in your truth. If it feels like utter chaos, if you feel like you are in the winds and not the eye of the storm, I'm going to need you to, one, get a cool head. In Orisha tradition, pour some water on your head. Cool your head. Number two, you need to ask yourself some real questions. Am I in alignment? Am I operating in the truth that my soul, my essence, my Ori chose? Or am I still trying to be someone else? Am I still trying to be someone else? Someone that I'm not? And decide. And make a decision. And decide who you want to be. And don't let anyone stop you from being who you're supposed to be. Don't let anybody stop you. For my spiritual workers, if you have a plan, do not put it on social media. If you have a plan, don't put the joint on social media. If you know that spirit is moving through you and you have a plan, if your ancestors have sat with you and said, hey, we didn't just do money work. You might want to relearn some of those things we used to do to protect us when we were on the plantation, when we were doing the civil rights movement. Don't you put that on social media. If it's a plan that requires a collective work, then you find your collective. But you don't do that on social. You don't do that work on here. Do not do that work on here. There is work that is required. There is work that is required. Don't do it on here. Get your people. Do what you need to do. While you're, getting the money that you need to pay for the things while inflation is going on, do that. Still do that work. Make sure you're able to provide for your family. Don't stop doing that work, but understand that wasn't the only work your ancestors did. And if you have the gift, because part of this was like playing it small, you doing spells instead of rituals, go big. Can you protect the school? Maybe there's a night spot where, your rainbow family hangs out. Maybe you can protect that. And if you know what to do, do. Just saying. Just saying. Our ancestors were in the business of protection. They were in the business of protection. At the end of the day, the root of all their work was protection. Protecting their lineage, protecting their livelihood. The root of their work was protection. Just saying. So, if you did not get to catch all the goodness, thank you to TikTok, by the way. TikTok in the building. Um, okay. Thank you for TikTok in the building. Thank you, Facebook and YouTube, for those that popped in, but TikTok was in the building today. Thank y'all so much. If you didn't catch this at the very beginning, maybe give it like 10 minutes or so. It should be fully saved on YouTube, and then you can just watch it run it back from the beginning, because the whole divination is at the beginning of it, and the intention. So you can catch it from the beginning. I like to give inspired action because that is my trademark, other than self-care. Inspired action. Inspired action today. What is your personal truth? If you never had a book, if no one told you who God was and how you connect to God, what is your truth? Sit with it. Sit with it. Notice I didn't tell you who God, other than God is in everything. You still have to decide what your relationship with the Most High is. What do you want to call God? I tell people all the time, like, God, y'all worried about a name? Y'all think God care? You think there are like 50,000 names for God because God cares what God wants to be called? Oh man, I didn't think about that. When I was creating all these humans with all the different own consciousness and realizations about me, because I wanted to experience me in all these different ways, I totally didn't think they would have multiple names for me. Because, God don't know everything. Come on, dog. That just sounds... Make it make sense. Like really. Make it make sense. God either knows everything or does not. Facts. Truth. God either knows everything or does not. Facts. Truth. So if that is the case, and God knows everything, which means God had already decided that it was cool to have multiple names, then decide what yours is going to be. If you like, I regularly will sit someplace and God will do something and be like, dang, homie, that happens. Shouldn't God be your homie? Should God not be your homie? God should be your homie. If you don't have a relationship with your creator, where the creator of you is like your bestie, I feel sad for you. Honestly. I'm not going to say that you need to change it, but I feel sad for you. I feel like if you are still in a place where you are afraid of the creator that created you, that is also living as you, I feel sad for you. And I wish that you would not feel that way. I wish that you wouldn't feel that way. I wish that you could come to a place where you and the Most High can just sit and talk about whatever. Like, real talk, somebody came to my house looking delectable, like a whole buffet, not a snack, like a whole buffet. Came over and I'm just like, and the first thing I did when he left, all he did was come to bring me something. He came to bring me something. Dropped it off, left. I went to my altar, and Lord, you took your time with that one, Lord. I just want to say thank you. I just want to say thank you for the tight. I just want to say thank you for the well-dressed. I just want to say thank you. Why? Because I don't really talk about them with anybody else. But I can talk about them with God and my ancestors. I can do that. I'm like, oh, Lord, they fine. Thank you, God. I just want to say thank you. I'll be meaning it too. I just want to say thank you, Lord. Because God did that. God created that. God made sure that those two people came together to make that person, and that person would look this way. And I just want to give gratitude for that. Every once in a while, I have one of those days when I'm like really feeling myself. I go, oh Lord, thank you. Thank you for this real cute day that I'm having. Yes. Thank you for my locks locking. Yes. I did a live recently and I said that I'm not a God fearing woman. I'm a God loving woman. The colonizer wanted you to fear God. My relationship with God is I just want to love. I just want us to be able to hang out. I don't want to feel like God is sitting somewhere on some cloud waiting for me to do some dumb stuff. I'm going to punish you. No. Things, causes have effects. Causes have effects. That is it. If I do a good thing will happen. If I do a not so intelligent thing, a not so intelligent thing may happen. So, I don't know my voice. Like, is God texting me right now? The idea that I have to fear that who created me. I have a respect and an awe and an admiration, but fear is not one of the things I think about when I think about God. I do not obey God. I accept God. The slave master wanted you to obey. God is not your slave master. God is creating life in tandem with you. Whatever you think about, give momentum to, God is like, okay, well, you like that, I'm just going to make it happen. I accept. When God sends me an intuitive nudge through my ancestors, my Orisha, and says, hey, you should probably do this thing like this live, I accept it. I'm like, all right, I'll get it done. I'll do it. Even like I'll share this with y'all because y'all don't know me. I'm wearing white for the next 2 weeks. Why is this a thing? Because I need a little coolness in my life. And because I rebel against it. And so it's like, okay, I want you to be cool. Wear this white. Wear this white. It's been an experience. It's been a very interesting experience. I accepted it. This wasn't not an admonition. I didn't obey. I accepted it. All right, I'll wear the white. I'll wear it. I bought me some pants the other day. Found me some white pants. I'm like, I'll wear the white. I'm gonna be doing a lot of laundry. I don't have a lot of it. I'll wear the white. When I was getting ready to be crowned as a priestess, it's like, hey, you can't be wearing all that black. What? It's my favorite color. What do you mean? All right. So what did I do? Some of my stuff I donated. I got a few homeboys and I had a lot of basketball shorts. I let them get that stuff. I accepted it. I didn't feel like I obeyed. This morning in my prayer cycle, I broke out into song. Why? Because I didn't feel like doing formal prayers at that moment. I wanted to sing to my ancestors. Accept, not obey. My spiritual practice is such in a way that it flows as I'm flowing. If I don't feel like doing formal prayers that day, we sing, dance, we shuck and jive, whatever we're going to do. We having a good time. I want to meditate, listen to Gucci Mane Lemonade. We're having a good time. So, how has Ifa affected my life? Wow, that's such a powerful question. And I'm gonna try to do it without crying. I was raised as an Israelite, not Christian, but so being as an Israelite, you always get that you're one of the chosen people. And I'm like, okay. And in that, okay, I'm gonna answer your first question, but I'm gonna respond to what you just posted first because I feel like I need to respond to it. I'm gonna say this like this, and this is not to knock whoever you have chosen, and you do what you do. But I have both, and I didn't pay that. I have both hands. I did not pay that. Not anywhere close to that much. I have both hands. Both hands to Orisha, and I didn't pay that much. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it like that. And yeah, I'm going to keep this book here because y'all going to get a show if I move it. I have both hands. I have both hands. I am a crown initiated priestess. I am a working priestess. I have both hands. I am trained in Opuele, Ikid, and Merendelagoon divination, and Obi. I have both hands. I didn't pay that. Not that much. I didn't pay that much. It's not horrible. I've heard way worse. I'll say that. I have heard way worse, but I still didn't pay that much. Not when I in my head, I'm calculating what I paid to travel to my godmother, what I paid for my tools. Yeah, I didn't pay that much. I paid less than that. I paid less than that. But it's, different traditions also are different. So a lot of people I meet in the States are Santeria Lukumi. I haven't met any Shango Baptists, but I think that's more in Haiti. But I'm not. I'm initiated in traditional, and my Iolode was here in the States. So there's that. Ifa gave me the audacity to be myself. When the way my spiritual awakening happened, which is the way and how I guide my students and how my course is going to go, it started with self-love. Like Orisha didn't show up right away. It was early, but not right away. The first thing I did was a self. Like when I was a kid, I was in astrology and something, I went away. I was into numerology and it went away. So the first things that ever came back to me during my conscious awakening journey were astrology and numerology. And what they did is force me to go and learn myself. I started looking at certain things in my chart and like, oh my God, this explains so much. I was doing shadow work. And in the course of that, Orisha started to show up. I started seeing posts about Orisha and things of that nature. Ancestor veneration came up. All of these things started to happen. And because of how I just felt like I needed to call certain things to me, I went to an elder, but not Ifa, not yet. I knew someone who had gone on a similar journey, and I felt like when I kept getting the message about an elder, I didn't limit it to age, I limited it to experience. And I knew she had more spiritual, this type of experience than me. So I went to her and she asked me, what did I want? I said, I want a relationship with God. I don't want to feel like my relationship with the Creator is such that I am always wondering if I'm doing something wrong. Am I being punished? And I was in a really interesting place because my firstborn child died the day he was born. I know now there was a reason for that. But at the time, I'm looking at my life and I'm like, God, what did I do? What did I do wrong? The reason why I had to hold my son until he took his last breath. So when you go through spiritual awakenings your whole life, but then there's that conscious one. So when my conscious spiritual awakening began and I found a friend of mine who was willing to mentor me, she didn't mentor me on Ifa. She mentored me on cultivating a spiritual practice that was authentic to me. And that is important to the Ifa story. So she asked me about what I wanted. I said, I want a relationship with God where I don't feel like God hates me. That's what I want. And the same day I happened to had ordered some crystals. They came in the mail. Nobody told me don't put all them joints in my hand simultaneously. But hey, you know what? I was excited. Ooh, crystals. Put them in my hand. Almost hit the floor. Every spiritual gift that I have manifested simultaneously after that conversation. All of them. It was like the universe said, we've been waiting for you. Here we have gifts for you. All of them. Every one of them. Every one of them. If you ask me which clairs I have, all of them. All of them. I think taste is the only one that hasn't manifested. I have all of them, including smell. All of them. So as I'm going through this journey and I'm learning about Orisha, I had the 7 African powers altar and I waffled back and forth on it. I put it up, I took it down. And what I found in looking, I wanted it to, something about wanted my journey to be really authentic. So I found content about Ori work. And so I started with my Ori. I started with myself, and then I started my ancestor veneration. By the time my Iolode manifested in my life, I had been honoring my Ori every morning and didn't really realize how significant that was. So when she does my first divination, also, I just want to say I have never paid more than $150 for an E5 divination. Never, 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 never. I'm just going to say that. I don't know how much you pay it, but I'm just telling you, I've never paid more than $150 for E5 divination. And I've had it from two different people. The first one was a guy, and it was under $100. Not only was it under 100, he did E5 divination for me, an ancestor message, and a full numerology profile, under $100. But he was running a sale, but still, it was under $100. And everything he said was legit, like so on point. I'm like, bruh, what is happening right now? But when I got to my Ialode, she said I was already living Ifa. I was already walking in Iwa Pele in good character. She told me in the divination several things, but when it came to the initiation part, she said, not only will you initiate, but I don't know how to tell you this, but you're also going to be a priest. And because I already knew what my intuition felt like in my body when it was telling me yes. When I got the yes, when she said it, I didn't really have a question. But she still didn't ask me for any money. Other than what I paid for my reading, there was no money asked. And so she gave me homework to do. She said, here's some homework to do. After you do this homework, if you still feel like this is in alignment with your destiny, I'm here. This is what class would cost. We'll do work together before you ever go to the mat. I'm like, okay, cool. My Ialode reminded me that I am the complicated ritual in the spiritual practice. If something was to happen and I had no altars or no anything, it does not matter. I can sit in the middle of my front yard and call whoever I need to call with ease. Whether I do it in English or Yoruba, they will come. My Ialode reminded me that what I had been saying is that self-love is an act of worship and I am the altar to the divine. She confirmed that for me. She confirmed that for me. And what I realized is everything we do leading us to Ifa should be grounded in self-love. Ori work, Ori, for people that don't know, that's a Yoruba word for your head. It is your consciousness. Nothing comes to you but through your head. Nothing comes to you but through your head, meaning unless you say so, because it's your head. Unless you say so, it ain't coming. The money won't come unless you consult of your consciousness. Your consciousness, this is the aspect of you that still remembers its oneness with God. It remembers the destiny that it wrote for itself in thus living as you. So unless you gave the green light for you to have ... in your life, it ain't gonna come. So this is why honoring your Ori every day is part of the practice, because it's the part of you that lets everything else come. Orisha ain't gonna support you unless your Ori says, hey, Yamoja, come here. She need a little help in being nurtured. Can you help her with that? If your Ori don't say that, it's not gonna go down. It ain't gonna happen. So honoring yourself is exactly the first part, honoring you. So that's what the first thing Ifa gave me was myself, sovereignty, personal sovereignty. I have such a level of personal sovereignty, even as a psychic medium oracle. A lot of people say, like, well, possession. I don't go into possession. Nobody owns my vessel but me. Me and whoever, we hang out together. We go into oneness. But ain't nobody, no. That's the other thing Ifa gave me. That's the other thing. Sovereignty in my spiritual practice. My spiritual practice looks the way that it does because it's mine. Because it's mine. It's absolutely mine. And it is about having a way, not the way. Every day can look different for me because I'm not meant to stay the same. I'm not meant to stay the same. Ifa gave me all the audacity to be myself, honor who I am, honor how I express myself. Ifa encouraged me to love every part of me. Every part of me. When I learned about Shango being a reluctant leader, because yes, I am almost Shango, I was like, oh, why does this feel like my life? Why does this feel like my life? Yemoja came because I had children that are neurodivergent. And I was freaking out as to whether or not I could be a good mother. Everyone that knows me in my personal life probably would say, "You're always mothering us." Yes, yes. But I birthed these two humans. The idea that I could F it up was profound. And I had already had a child pass. I was just like, I needed Yemoja. And understanding, Ifa also reminded me that initiation doesn't give you Orisha. Orisha are the consciousness of the creator in creation. They are the consciousness of the creator in creation. They are God's energy manifested in nature. Humans are nature walking around. Our breath is air. This is earth. Our passion, our action, that is fire. We are mostly water and we have a spirit in and around us. We are nature, meaning that Orisha is always within us. If you've ever walked into a room dressed up, knowing that all eyes were going to be on you, chances are that's either Shango or Oshun showing up in your energy. It's always there. Your ability to sit in the throes of change and find calmness and see why this change is happening to you and what you need to learn from the change is Oya. When you go and do shadow work in the depths of your being and trying to find the treasure that lies within you and who you are truly being, that is Olokun. You are never without Orisha. Initiation helps you manifest whatever energies most need to show up given where you are. It is medicine to support you in your journey. So me being someone where God was calling me to have my own business and I needed to be able to step up and lead and all these things, and I needed my Aries energy to show up more, and I needed to let my Aquarius innovation show up more. That is why my first initiation was included Shango. That's why I needed Shango. Shango reminds me there's more than one way to get it done. Shango reminds me to have all the audacity and know that I know what I know. Shango reminds me that I am truly a master diviner. I need not fear. I know what I know, even if I don't truly understand why I know it. You know it, just say it. Say it. Say it with your whole chest. Say it. Shango's also reminds me this. And then the alignment. Shango is related to the planet Uranus. It's also associated with Aquarius. I am an Aquarius sun, Mars, and Mercury, and a bunch of other things. I have a lot of things happening in Aquarius. So it's aligned. I am a Cancer rising. So it makes sense that Yemoja would be one of the first Orisha to show up for me because Yemoja is associated with the sign of Cancer and the moon. And the moon is not only my ruling planet, it is my dominant planet in my birth chart. It's completely aligned. Everything is aligned. Everything is working in harmony, just speaking different languages. Everything's working together and speaking different languages. That's the other thing Ifa told me. Everything is working together and speaking different languages. The fact that I cannot know everything that God is a reflection of the fact that I will not ever truly know everything that I am. Because we're simply the reflection, the emanation of the Most High in human form. You'll constantly learn something about yourself. And I revel in it. That is why we do divination regularly. I revel in the knowing of how I'm aligning to my destiny. I revel in that knowing. Aye. There's so many. Aye, Osain, Ochosi. There's a lot. all of them, but if you're talking about the ground itself, like the ground, definitely Osain, Aye, Ogun. It's a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. And in the Orisha tradition that I crown into, because it's more traditional Ifa, and it's not Lakumi, Santeria, or anything like that. If you ask me who my head Orisha is, it is my Ori. That is my head Orisha. It's my Ori. So it's funny. I had that conversation, and yes, Eshu is associated with Mercury, but I also, in my own personal, see Eshu and Saturn. The Mercury thing gives you that dualistic nature and that trickster energy. because Mercury is just like that. But when I think about big picture, who Eshu is and how Eshu wants to teach you, and Eshu wants you, it's not that Eshu doesn't want to open the door for you, but are you ready for this door to be opened? Are you ready for this blessing? Are you ready for this eating and this abundance? If I send you a windfall of, if I open the door to the windfall of money, are you going to mismanage the money? And that's what Saturn is. Saturn is not like, I don't want you to have it. Saturn is like, I want you to build processes and functions and things in place so that when you get it, it will have longevity. When you manifest this, it will have longevity. I don't want you to squander it. I want you to learn the lessons so you can get off the hamster wheel. And that's what Eshu does. Eshu's like, okay, like, did you learn? Did you learn? Did you? I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Oh, you did learn. Shoot, let's go ahead and open the door then. You learned. You got it. You got it. So I'm going to open the door then. I'm going to open the door. And so that's how, that for me, I see both planets. That's me personally. That the Saturn thing is completely personal to me. I see both. I see both because I can see I have an understanding that Saturn is just, it's a really stern teacher. You're gonna learn today. Saturn is, you gonna learn today. And I feel like Eshu is the same way. It's like, you gonna learn today. You have to say, when you feel like you learned the lesson, I personally am one that says it's 1:11 on the clock. Awesome. I personally am like, okay, what did I learn? And I say it out loud. I have an Orisha tarot deck, and one of my cards says spirit is heart of hearing, say it out loud. So I regularly will say things out loud. And I'm like, okay, so I learned this. I don't need to go through it in this way anymore. I am ready to get off the hamster wheel. And inevitably, because I have developed a spiritual practice where I don't simply ask for signs blanketly. I don't say, oh my God, send me a sign. No, hey, can you send me this? Let this be my sign. And then I will get that quickly. It will come. If I have truly learned the lesson, I don't have to wait 3 or 4 days to get the sign. No. Within 24 hours, I will have it, if not faster. Within 24 hours, I have it. I will not fast. That was not fast. I'm gonna try not to flash y'all, but I have to stretch my leg out. There we go, because y'all didn't pay for that. For the person that asked me about what did I receive from Ifa, what I think Ifa gave me, I love that Ifa gives me space. Ifa gives me space. It gives me security. Like right now, if I'm going through something, I can go to my altar and cry. I can go and cry. And I was doing shadow work one morning and I just called. I was like, I need help. I can't do this by myself. I'm on live on YouTube too. So you can catch it from the very beginning on YouTube. Like when I go off live, which will be in a few minutes because I have a head cleansing to do in a couple of hours. And I want to get ready. Plus my left butt cheek hurt. You can go on YouTube and watch the whole thing. If you go on my link tree, the YouTube, all my social media stuff is down at the bottom of my link tree. You can just go to my profile and look it up. But yeah, that's what gave me space. And it gave me the courage to put things out there. So like right now, I launched enrollment for my new spiritual mentorship and it's from self to source with Ifa. It's from self to source because everything starts with you. Everything. If you allow yourself to go on a conscious spiritual awakening journey and you do not start with you, you will be swept up in all these different things. It's all this stuff and all the muck and debris, and you still will be in a practice that is not authentically yours. You start with yourself. You start with self-love. You start with the shadow work. You start with all those things. You start with learning your intuition. You start with building a relationship directly with the source, because then inevitably, when you get to everything else, you will only align to that which is right and whole to you. I did not crown in Santelia Lukumi because I'm too much of a rebel. I had Risha came, I wasn't trying to initiate, let alone be a priest. That wasn't my plan. head anyway. I didn't think so. I just thought this was me getting closer to my roots. That's what I thought it was. I'm sorry, y'all. My butt hurt. I thought it was me getting closer to my roots. Um, I do offer divination. I do Ifa divination. And I have a mentorship program that will take through a lot of this too. So just inbox me. I might have some time this afternoon. I got to see how the children act, but I might actually have some time this afternoon. I know I'm Eastern time, so in like 2 hours, I'm going to one of my clients to do her head cleansing, but I might have some time after that. And if not, then we could just talk about days that you're available and when I can do it. But I didn't think I was going to initiate, let alone be a priest. Like I was just like, what? Like, no, not even. And I didn't want to, because when you go and do a lot of research, because there's so many people that a lot of the authors and things are Santeria and Lukumi based, there were aspects of that tradition I didn't resonate with. And it's not that it's not Orisha tradition. That's not the case. But coming into the diaspora, the Orisha traditions that have manifested in the diaspora, let's say Ifa is Ifa. We'll just do this for an example. And so pre-colonization, pre-slave trade, you've got the Orisha tradition, and Ifa is the mom and the daddy. Their parents are doing the same thing. So thus the manifestation is more pure. You come into the diaspora, and our ancestors had to cloak it and had to hide it. And depending on where they hid it. So if they were someplace where that was very Catholic, then you got the child Catholicism as the daddy. Orisha Ifa is still the mother, but the daddy is now Catholicism. So then you have aspects of that tradition syncretized with the Orisha tradition. And for me, some of the ways that manifest when I look at it, it's like you can't be a woman and be a priest. And whether I wanted to be a priest or not, I'm an Aquarius. And what you not gonna do? What did Aquarius say you can't? I can't. What do you mean I can't? It's because you're a woman. What does that got to do with anything? And so I couldn't resonate with it. It's not to knock it, because that tradition has medicine for the people who are meant to crown in it. It didn't have the complete medicine that I needed in my journey. It didn't have the complete medicine in my journey. So there would have been something missing, and I still would have needed more. I want to learn this. Even if I didn't want to be a priest, I would have wanted to learn it. Like, let me learn this. Let me learn how to do that. Let me learn how to do this. I want to learn. Aquarius is like the sign of I know. We want to know the things. We want to know the things, because that's what we do. We learn. We want to know the things. We want to know how to do everything. That is what we do. That is what we do. And so I knew I needed to have a practice that gave me freedom to learn the things. I wanted the freedom to learn the things and cultivate a practice that was mine. I did not want to immediately jump into a tradition where it's like, if you don't do it this way, it's not the right way. I wanted a tradition and a practice where does it work? Is it effective? Does it work, and is it effective? Is it having me walk in Iwa Pele? Am I standing in my power and in my truth? And so being able to call forth an elder who practiced more traditional Isheshe, that's what I needed. And I learned a lot from the content creators that practice Lukumi. I learned a lot that helped me build. When I got ready to learn with her, there were certain things, like I have an Oriki book, and one of the Orikis, the prayer, the song for your Ori, I realized I had been saying it for over a year just in English. I was like, okay, so there are certain things, because I called for my manifestation in my journey to feel a certain way. It needed to feel like it was mine. It simply needed to feel like it was mine. I had already done the lifetime of like, because my parents said so, this is what I do. I want to do this because I want to. I want to do this because I want to. There are days where I'm like, you know what? I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I am mentally, spiritually, I don't have any to give. So you know what? We're going to do the short version of these prayers, because I'm still grateful and I still want to say hi, but we're going to do this real quick because I just need a day. I need a break. There are days where I just want to be regular. I don't want to be the priestess today. I don't want to be the oracle today. I just want to be regular. I want to sit around and eat junk food or listen to trap music. That's what I want to do today. And you know what Ifa does? It gives me the space because that is still a part of who I am. When people say I have changed, but I'm also still very much who I was when I was like a kid. I mean like a kid. The kid in me wanted to be the most powerful witch ever. We were always a witch for Halloween all through my adult life. That had not changed. And thus, when I got my first divination with my godmother, the first thing she says is, you're going to be a really powerful witch. And the kid in me was like, yes, yes, I told you. I knew it was going to be the biggest witch in the world. Yes. The kid in me rejoiced. She's happy. I love doing ritual. Yesterday, I had to do a head cleansing, and I only recently started offering Ifa services. So though I have been crowned a bit, I was not offering Ifa like that or talking about it like this. It was private. It was private. Happy Sunday. It was private for me. And then it just slowly just like kept creeping. It kept creeping. And then one day it's just like, you need to start offering Ifa divination. And I'm just like, what? You need to start offering it. Are you sure? And I mean, I was like, really, like I did OB divination. I'm like throwing a shit. Like, did I hear that right? Yes, offer Ifa divination. Okay. And what's wild is I had already been doing it for my god sister. And it was like, it's time. You're ready. It's time. It's like, well, what? I don't need to do nothing else. You need a new Opwele, because at the time my Opwele had gone, poor baby. She put in work. But I needed an Opwele. I needed a separate one for clients. So I have a separate Opwele that I use for clients. So then it kept going. And then it's like, go ahead and start making Ilekes. What? Go ahead and start doing that. What do you mean? So now I go to my website. Yes, you can buy Ilekes any days. They are not, this is different. So this one I bought. This one I bought. My Elode made this one. Notice it's a Yemoja, but it doesn't look like any of the Yemoja ones you will see in the store. That's why I love it. This is the representation that I am a priestess, my hands of Ifa, or I have both hands of Ifa. Notice it's got the colors, but it don't look like that one you got in the store because I made this one. And none of I wanted to be different and have my ashe, but I also blessed them all. They're all cleansed and blessed. And I was like, yo, I'm doing that. And Ifa's like, yes, because you're good with your hands. And you're really like I do energy work. Like I'm a certified Reiki master. I do energy work. And you need to like tap in and like go ahead, do your thing. And I'm like, oh, okay. So Ifa is also like, do all the things. So if you go to my website, you're like, what don't you do? Isn't much. There's certain things I won't do. Like I had to tell a client the other day. She was like, yo, when the moment she started talking about this dude and how she was going to his house and then she wanted revenge because he cheated, I was like, you know what? I'm not in high school and I don't do that. You don't have to find somebody else. Get somebody else to do it. I'm not. There's nothing telling me to help you with this. So no. And like the turn down money. Turn it down. No, I'm not doing that. Somebody else came to me. It's like, I think I've been hexed. I said, I think it's probably you. We can do divination to confirm, but I'm thinking it's probably you. I think you're self-hexing. So let's find out. I could have easily like, okay, cool. Let's do all these cleanses and charge you all this money. I did not. Iwapele is important to me. Being someone who supports people in their spiritual journey is important to me. Yes, I have bills to pay and there is a fee for my time and the utilization of my gifts, but I'm not trying to hit people in the head. I'm not. That's why if you go to my website, you can pay it for. If PayPal lets you, you can pay it for. I don't care. That's between you and PayPal. PayPal lets you pay it for. By all means, do what you do, homie. My spiritual journey program has 4 ways you can interact with it. 4. You could pay monthly, you could pay quarterly, you could get a smaller version of the program, or you could just get a little taste and a little sample. There's 4 ways. 4 ways, because I'm not trying to hit you in the head. I am a single mother with 2 children with special needs. I get it. I get it. I get it. I don't get child support, and that's on purpose. Why? Because the child support system is broken. It is broken. It is hot trash. And the last thing I wanted to do was to succumb the father of my children to not being able to eat or pay bills, or he had to work so much where he couldn't see his kids. No, I was like, God, you just gonna have to make it away for me, because I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Not like this. No. If I have to choose between the money and my kids being able to be in a relationship with their daddy that is that is whole and healthy, and they get to see their father be prosperous and abundant, I'm gonna be prosperous and abundant too. I need them to see that in their reflection, who is also their father. Ifa gave me courage to stand for what I believe in. And I don't believe in that system. I don't. I believe I should be supported and taken care of, and I believe that he's financially responsible. But if I know that he don't have the money, then what I'm gonna do? Give me your last. That sounds stupid. That sounds like a wound. That sounds like you hurt and you got pain, and I'm not hurt. I grieve the ending of my marriage. I'm done with that. The money is not gonna bring that back to me. I'm okay. I'm good on that. So yeah, like you pay for the service, but I'm not gonna hit you in the head with it. I know exactly how many clients I need a day to get the bills paid, and that's what I'm conjuring. And that's. You want to give me more, God? By all means, do that. Do your thistle. Do your thistle. Do your thing. Do your thing, and I got you. But for those that asked the question about Ifa and what it gave to me, I hope that it helped. Yes, I do divination. By all means, feel free. If you don't like, you go to my website, because I got a website. Like, you can go to my website and book. But if you don't see a time, the schedule on my website is set up as a single mother working. Inbox me. If my kids are having a good day, or I know there's a certain time that I might be able to squeeze you in, inbox me. I can still invoice you from my website. Somebody said something about Cash App. I'm like, I'll take Cash App too, but I have a business bank account and invoicing systems in place. As a business woman, by all means, go to the website, inbox me. We could inbox me. I'm not gonna inbox you. I'm not, if you get an email from me, that's because you're on my mailing list. Real talk. I'm not inboxing anybody. And in terms of like godchildren and things like that, yes, I am open to receiving godchildren. I am. But you have to take my course. I am not going to make you going to the mat be where all these things open up for you. You got to go do the work. And by the time you're done, if you still want to go to the mat, you can. If you still feel like you want to crown and you want to initiate, by all means, you will then have a sturdy foundation for your practice. And initiation is simply going to support and elevate it. It's not going to give you a practice. It's going to support and elevate where you are. So why not be in a healthy place and then going to the mat? I went to the mat and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It's not that there wasn't anything that came up. It was just beautiful. It was nothing like you see on TV, and everything that I needed it to be. It was nothing that you see on TV, and everything that I needed it to be. It gave me God siblings. It made me like really say, hey, I don't always have to be in my masculine. I don't have to action. Sometimes Audisha's going to do it, and I just need to move out the freaking way. And I'm like, okay, I'll be open to receive. Thanks. I run into my altar room sometimes like, yo, thanks for that. And I run out. It gave me a connection with God that there was not there. God was something that I knew existed. Well, hello, bird. God was something I knew existed, but I didn't have a relationship with, beyond being worried about if I was going to mess it up. Ifa reminds me my entire destiny, good, bad, and indifferent. I wrote it all. It's a choose your own adventure. And my free will allows me to choose which adventure. Divination helps me choose the better adventure. That's what it does. Well, I hope that y'all enjoyed. Thank y'all for the likes. We got 1.8K likes. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all for the likes. Thank you for the follows. Again, y'all followed me. Um, Introducing myself again. My name is Ia Dania. For the practitioners and future practitioners, I am Ia Nifa Dania Faomi Shango. I am a Ifa priestess and spiritual awakening doula for the African American diaspora. I do divination. Um, I've done, yeah, I'm gonna take a break. I do divination. I am a mentor, so I do have a journey from self to source with Ifa. Enrollments are happening from now to the 1st. We do a kickoff, just kind of like an intro. Hey, let's meet each other session on May 19th, and then May 21st, class is in session. If you want to engage in the full program, the full program is only $250 a month. And yes, I will offer bi-weekly options. You just have to inbox me because I have to invoice you differently. But $250 a month if you want to pay for a whole 3 months, because I'm breaking it into quarters. So it's $750 a quarter. There'll be like a 1.5-2 week break between quarters, so you can kind of settle, and then we get back into it. It'll start with self-love. It'll take you through shadow work. It'll take you through learning what your core personal values are and how you visualize accomplishing your personal mission at the time. We'll go through learning not only what your intuition is, but how to proactively engage a communication from your intuition versus being reactive. You'll go through dream work, not necessarily divination, but simply cultivating a practice where you realize your dreams are trying to tell you something and being able to remember more of your dreams. Then you get to ancestors. We'll do spiritual protection and then ancestors. Notice how long it takes for us to get to the ancestors. Why? Because you got to start with you. You got to start with you. Then incorporate them into your you-ness. Then incorporate them into their you-ness because they're also a part of you. And you'll spend 3 months on ancestors. 3 months, not 3 days, not a week. You're going to spend 3 months on ancestor veneration. By the time you're done, your ancestor practice will look like you. How you engage with your ancestors, whether you have an altar or not, it will be about you. Then we will get to the principles of Ifa, because by then you'll be ready. By then you'll be ready. They'll be weaved in there and that stuff, but then you'll be ready. Then you'll be ready. And if after the 12 months, because it's a 12-month program, you feel like you want to go deeper and you want to actually initiate, then we could talk about that. But if you have any inclination, you might want to be one of my godchildren, you have to take the program. If you can't do $250, if you can't do $750 a quarter, but you still want some support, $100 a month, you will be able to choose. You can either do self-paced where you just get recordings, or you can do the come join us in the group sessions. You get to choose which way you want to go. Either way, my website will have a private group for everyone. So you don't have to have Facebook. You don't have to be on anything else. My website has a group functionality. You'll have a group that you can engage with. Again, you'll still have a community where you will be supported. You're not doing this by yourself. $100 2 months. Okay, cool. $40. I will send you one module a month for $40. Just one module. So it's not beholden to the 12-month thing. One module a month that you can do at your own pace. You'll still get the little pretty PDFs and you'll still get access to the group. And then if you're ready to bump up from there, by all means, join the next cohort. But that it at least will kind of get you going in something that you can do in a logical order where you're not overdoing information overload. So if you're interested, if that sounds like something you want to be a part of, my link tree is in my bio. The link in my bio is really close to the top. You can take a look at it and enroll. Enrollment is open to the 1st. If you want to talk about bi-weekly, inbox me and we can talk about that. I do offer free 15-minute consultations. They are not divination, even though because I'm a medium, sometimes I end up channeling. That's why it's $20, because inevitably I'll channel something. And then if you decide to book something more formal, the $20 is discounted off of there. I'm also teaching an intuition class at the end of the month. So it's like a sample. It's like a piece of the course that you can sample to learn what intuition is, how it relates to your relationship with God, and how to feel your intuitive yes. So you can take the course and that be it, or you could take the course and pay $40 and have a session with me, a 30-minute session with me to kind of see how your homework went, because you will get homework at the end of the course. I'm a real teacher. I give homework. That's what I do. I give homework. So thank y'all so much again. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I'm going to go find food because I have yet to eat. And I've done divination and everything in this last 90 minutes. I think I've earned a meal. So y'all have a good day. Thank you again and have a great Sunday. Uh-oh.